United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call.
Okay. Board Member Veach is absent. Board Member Johnson?
Dennis, here.
Board Member Spalding?
Here.
Vice Chair Memberto is absent, and Chair Jones.
Here.
Okay, complete.
All right. That brings us to election of officers, at which point I will turn the meeting over to you.
Okay.
And so we can nominate a chair and elect the chair, and then we'll follow the procedure after that.
Okay. So now we will open the floor for nominations for the position of chair. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Dwayne.
That was a little too quick.
And I'll support.
Shoot or be shot.
Preemptive strike.
Right.
Okay.
Accepted.
Board Member Jones, you accept. Thank you. All right. So Board Member Jones has been nominated for chair. Do we have any other nominations? And I need to ask this 3 times, so that's the first. Do we have any further nominations? And a final time, do we have any further nominations?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. So now may I have a motion and a second to elect Board Member Jones for chair?
So
So
moved.
moved. Support.
Okay, so motion by Johnson. Support by Spalding. Okay, all in favor?
Thanks.
Oh, wait a minute, we might want to have to take a break and genuflect and. Hi, Mark.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Well, soon to be again, yes.
So we have a motion by Johnson, second by Spalding to elect Board Member Jones as chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed, and I will pass the meeting back over to Chair Jones.
All right, and we'll move right along to the nomination of vice chair. Is there any nomination for the position of vice chair? Can we nominate someone if nobody wants to sit in that position in absentia? I don't know if Shelley wants to continue in that role or Marty. Dennis can't, he's an alternate. So it's
Okay.
either Marty or,
I'm officially indifferent. I mean, if Shelley can be nominated in her absence.
I don't know if she can because she can't be here to accept it.
Yeah, that's,
Oh.
I can,
in that case, I will nominate Marty.
And I'll second it.
I'm going to remember that.
nominated Spalding. And Board Member Spalding, do you accept?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, would you like me to ask if we have any other nominations, or would you like to?
Probably a moot point.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we have a motion by, oh no, we don't have a motion yet.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
Dennis Johnson. And Jones. To elect Spalding. Okay, Board Member Johnson, we have a motion by Board Member Johnson, second by Jones, to elect Board Member Spalding as Vice Chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
All right. So now it brings us to secretary. And being as how we don't have anyone here to be nominated, and Dennis is an alternate and can't be nominated, can we set that aside?
Yes,
I think that's the only way that we can do that.
I would recommend that.
Laura as the
And
recording secretary.
we can I can appoint Laura as the recording secretary right now, pending the election of a permanent secretary. Go through that step.
Okay.
Just table it.
Yep. All right. And I think that handles the election of officers. Approval of agenda. See anything that we need to add, delete, or change on the agenda in front of us?
Move to accept.
Okay, we got a motion by Dennis
Support.
and support by Marty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good deal. Any conflicts of interest about what we're going to be talking about, which is really not much?
None noted.
None, nor me. Approval of minutes. Have you seen the minutes from the last meeting?
I have.
I have to.
And have you looked at them?
Yep,
Do they represent a pretty accurate
I believe so.
Correct.
To approve, accept.
motion to okay? Dennis?
Support?
Support? Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Deal. No public hearing, nothing under new business. Old business, 348 River Street, which is the boutique hotel that you wanted to discuss, Teresa.
Just any background or any other information that I need to know about that wasn't in the minutes or anything that you discussed? Know of anything?
At this point, there's nothing happening down there. Mark, are you aware of anything happening down at the music vault?
Nothing at all.
Okay. The guys that own that, have you met them?
They were here at the last meeting. Well, no, the owners weren't, but a representative was.
Representative was. They also own the, what they call the Outsider now, which was the former, well, it was an ice cream shop, but prior to that, its iteration before that was the senior center.
Oh, okay.
So they're getting that off the ground, and that seems to be taking on a life. And so I don't know what their plan is. I talked to John Faber on occasion, not frequently, because I own the building right next door, and I'm letting them use some storage space.
Oh, okay.
And they, I think, are looking at sometime this year starting to dig into that.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that stands.
Yep.
Will we be looking at having to give them an extension? Usually it's a year from a variance that they have to begin pulling permits and start work. Is there a
Correct.
possibility that we have to have a meeting to give them an extension?
My understanding of the current, and I've been through this, the current methodology is that the second year can be given administratively, the first extension, so to speak.
Okay,
And that at the third anniversary,
then it comes back.
you have to go to the planning commission as opposed to here.
Okay.
So I think,
Good.
to get
Sounds
it
good, sounds good to
more
me.
time.
Correct.
Right, for an extension, yeah.
Extension. Which also brings it now, so that's where that stands on the boutique hotel. 313 Maple Street, as we know, if you've been by there, the garage is being built that was approved.
Yep, been there. So I guess just a couple of things that I've been getting quite a few phone calls about that, so I guess I just wanted to make you all aware. People just questioning the setbacks, what's going on there, what's it gonna look like.
Maple Street,
Yes, Maple Street, the 313 Maple Street. And there's, I know that you guys have the meetings, and I know that there's the minutes, but still just the discussion for me to learn more. That's one of the reasons why I brought it up. The 313, what I usually refer to people is they should have been attending the ZBA meetings, attend the planning commission meetings, review the, you know, it being on TV, that they record it, or ask for the minutes.
those would have all been noticed also.
Correct.
Yes.
And we actually had
Yes.
letters of support.
Yes, for it.
Yeah, a number of the neighbors, yeah.
Yeah, a couple
Yeah.
of the neighbors sent in letters, if I recall, that supported the project and getting, and truthfully, the old garage was kind of an eyesore and.
And they're still supposed to tear that one down.
Correct.
I do want to let you know that Safe Build was the one that had the building permit, and that expires February 5th, because Safe Build only does them every 6 months. So, and they are to renew that with Safe Build. Just because Safe Build was the one that started it,
Right.
our new building inspector, Jerry, does not take over, he just lets them finish it. We've
They're-
both been over there, we both looked at things. I know that they're gonna be tearing down the garage behind it in the spring, so as far as we're concerned,
Either an extension or a new permit.
yeah, well, they just get an extension as a, yep, from Safe Build.
There is a, I guess, kind of an unwritten rule that the agency that issues the building permit generally follows all the way through with it, because
Yep.
somebody coming in later won't have seen what might already be covered up and approved.
Right,
That works some of the times, but I know from my experience that I'm on mechanical inspector number 5 with the state right now on one of them, because people keep retiring, and
Sure.
the guy
Right.
will come in and he'll go, oh, you can't do that, like the last 3 people told me I could. So there's, plus we've had the state, Safe Built, and now Jerry. Did I miss somebody? Might have been another one in that mix too, but it's been kind of crazy. I hardly know who my inspectors are before very recently.
Wow. Well, hopefully that'll all kind of even out and have some continuity there for a while.
Yeah, especially with everything being in-house, hopefully that
Right.
alleviate that.
So anyway, it looks like the garage is going along according to plan and according to Hoyle, so.
Yeah.
The other thing that we talked about, which isn't on the agenda, but just briefly, and I wanted to ask either Marty or Dennis if you recalled, on the Morton Salt project.
Right.
We approved that for the second time, and it seems to me you had suggested, rightfully so, that there be a time limit imposed, and it rings in my head as August, is that?
I'd have to go look, and it seems like, I think it might have been in minutes, maybe.
Okay, I can review that and look in the minutes.
Because
It
at
wasn't
that
in the
point,
past
They're gonna be
minutes.
coming up on number 3, which means they're gonna be going to see Mark and crew,
Sure.
if we get approved again.
I don't think we can.
No, and they haven't started, I mean, they haven't done anything, so, plan on that.
What type of,
No, go ahead, come up.
Kind of a,
There was a
some
height-
kind of a penthouse.
Yeah,
name and address and everything?
Yes, please.
Mark Whitliff, 363 10th Street.
chairman of the planning commission,
That too.
Yes.
which is more important in this
No, it's not.
particular case.
So what is it?
Well, it's Morton Salt, they're adding a,
Penthouse at the top of a shaft.
yeah,
Something.
they're doing a big remodel, tearing down a couple of silos, enclosing some new silos, but putting a big doghouse, or not a big doghouse, a doghouse on top of one of the buildings.
It's not a significant project, but it's one of those things that doesn't fit into a box in the ordinance.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's gonna be like 4 or 6 feet above what it is right now, which is already, well in excess of what the height restriction is.
Okay.
So we approved it twice. They came, got the approval, apparently weren't ready to pull the trigger, came back after that expired, got another extension on that approval. They haven't even started. And I believe it comes up in August. We'll look
Okay.
and let you know, but
All right. Appreciate it.
it's just,
We've been down that road before on a few things.
yeah, it's gonna be something that's gonna come up. And
Yeah.
So, 'cause
Okay.
they're not doing anything about getting going, so.
Okay. Well, it's good to know. Thank you.
Sure, and while you're standing there, because that's all we had on that, did you have public comment and communications and anything from either the public or the planning commission?
Planning Commission, yes, please.
What's that?
Planning Commission, yes, please.
What about it?
Give them an update. It was on here, so I don't have to.
No, you're the planner. You have the notes.
Yes, I did.
I forgot
but-
it.
And you're the
Okay.
staff, he's just
Right.
a
Yeah,
Yeah,
guy like us.
I'm talking head.
I've got it. I've
No
got it.
comments from the public, other than, I'm surprised you only have 5 commissioners. We always had 7 when I was on the ZBA.
Well,
We're having a hard time having 5.
Yeah.
well, we're having a hard time having anything for 5 people to show up for.
That's true.
I know that when I was in front of the ZBA a year ago, it was the first meeting of the year,
Correct.
and that was in like November,
True story.
so.
Yeah. I mean, they're not, we don't have to meet very often.
We used to meet every month.
Well, you guys are doing the job on the planning commission, so we don't have to.
Hey, I'm just trying to help.
And we appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. So, all right.
All right, well,
Thank you, gentlemen.
thanks. Anything from, on staff? You have Historic District and Planning Commission. Well, we just heard from the Planning Commission, so how about the Historic District?
I just want to give you an update of what's going on in each one. Lee Trucks is no longer the chair of the HDC meeting. They nominated Catherine Kenny, so she is the chair now. Another thing, the shop at the Heritage Square, they did approve, that's at 390 River Street. They did approve the demolition permit for the exterior canopy that is over that, so that's gonna be happening. Yeah,
Which building is that? Is that Gardine's old building? Okay,
yep.
I thought so.
And then the old Kirk Museum, they were doing a SHPO grant to replace the roof. And Lee Trucks had put a letter of support for that. I also did a letter of support from the city. And I also had to just make sure that it was not in a floodplain zone. So.
If it's in a flood zone, we're in trouble. One way or another.
Yes, yes. So that was all set. And then at 383 River Street, the Ramsdell or TJ's Pub, they got somebody to come in and they're gonna be putting railing all along that for the sidewalk that goes downhill or uphill. There's gonna be a nice railing there to hold on to, so.
That was donated.
Yes, all donated for it. Yeah,
Nice.
yep. So next, we've got the Planning Commission, just a couple of things that have gone on. We've had a lot of interest in the 300 Care Center Drive that is up on the hill, Hospital Hill. You know, just a lot of people interested in what they can do and can't do and some ideas. We're going to be discussing that more February 1st at our Planning Commission meeting. Next, we're going to be bringing back the fence permits. That kind of went kind of to the wayside, but it's only for new permits or new fences that we're going to have fence permits put back into place. If you're replacing any existing, we're not requiring any permits for that. I'm talking with Tim, the attorney, just to put that back in place so we can update the zoning ordinance for that. Another thing, we're working on the master plan for the Planning Commission. I applied this week for a grant to help get an outside company to come in and assist with writing or updating, I shouldn't say write, updating the master plan. Maybe take some nice pictures, get a few things done, so excited about that. Also, the CHILL grant, I don't know if you've heard that we were accepted and we received the CHILL grant. What that's gonna entail is around $40,000 up to 12 to 14 homes. They're gonna be able to be encapsulated with siding. We're gonna try to target the homes that have the asbestos or shingle siding on the house and kind of helping with blight, helping with the overall look, and then also going inside the home to look for safety concerns, safe health and safety, and like I said, around $40,000. So that's gonna be opening up pretty soon. We have not received the application yet from the state, but as soon as we receive that application, we can start, you know, advertising that for people. It's gonna be a first come, first serve for that grant.
Is the
So-
40,000, is that per property or is that?
Yes, per
Okay,
property.
I was gonna say, if that was,
Yep.
if that was the
Oh.
project total, you're not getting much mileage out of that one.
No,
So you're not going very far with that.
yeah, about $500,000, so, yep, so.
That's different.
Yep, so we've got that going on. Also for the master plan, I forgot to tell you, I requested $30,000, so we can have somebody come in and help with all of that, so.
One question, where did the impetus come from for the reenactment of a fence permit and process?
Ever since I've started here, what I normally do is I have a calendar, and anytime somebody calls with either complaints, questions, concerns, I would write a little note in the corner of my calendar. It's just what I do. When I start getting more phone calls, I kind of do the little dashes. Well, after I had been here for 2 months, it's all I've been receiving is several phone calls about people putting up a fence. So what's been happening is putting up the fence, if there's any disagreement with their neighbors, I've been telling them that they need to have a survey done. And so that is the big plus. But if they're just replacing the existing, but you would not believe the quarrels that neighbors have over that. And so I went to the Planning Commission, we discussed it, and, you know, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. And we're only gonna charge $25 for a new fence permit.
So, Mark Whitliff, 363 10th. During our regular meeting with Teresa, Bob Slavinsky and I, she was getting a lot of, as she said, a lot of calls on the fence. And about 5, 6 years ago, we dropped it because Denise was overloaded. She didn't want to go that route. She had too many eggs in a basket. So to protect the property owners, stop any type of quarreling, we reinstituted the fence permit. So I think it's a good thing for the city. And like I said, it helps protect the property owners.
Just my opinion, but I think that it really depends on exactly how it's worded. Sometimes they can become unnecessarily restrictive. I've seen fence ordinances in some places that just seem way too controlling. And I've always been a believer in people being able to do with their property what they choose within reason if it isn't impacting somebody next door or the neighborhood or the community in general. And sometimes some of those requirements seem like they're a little crazy, I guess is the word.
Okay, I don't believe ours is. I believe we do have a fair verbiage in the ordinance. In my neighborhood, my neighbor had a fence put in. And when I went to check, the surveying stakes were pulled, which is illegal, by the way.
Right.
He didn't do it, the fence company did it. But in the verbiage, that will be in there also, so.
I mean,
Now, that protects landowners,
right.
just in case you want to sell.
I understand, A, that it has to be in your property, B, that it shouldn't block view at an intersection, C, things of that nature, that it shouldn't look like Fort Michilimackinac on somebody's front yard.
Right.
On a high-profile street corner. But I have seen some that are, that kind of kill, some places, especially as an example, in Maxwell Town. Some of those yards are tiny. And, it would seem to me that there should be an availability of somebody to create some privacy in a yard like that I would kind of hate to see us restrict. So that's my 2 cents.
No, I would, Mr. Spalding, I would read the ordinance for what it's worth.
Sure.
And get back with us too. So
Just
more eyes on the document, the better.
Right.
So, but it is needed because if you drive around town, there are some fences that are not legal right now. There's at least 5, 6 of them around town. So that go beyond the height restriction.
I'm sure.
Yes. So we just need to protect the city and protect the landowners.
Right. Understood.
All right. Thank you.
And then also, the fee's only gonna be $25. And if you're replacing an existing fence, if somebody calls and says, hey, I've got this fence, I heard I need a permit, but I already have a fence, I just take a buzz out there, take a picture of what's existing, and then if they tear it down, put a new up, take another picture. If they are questioning where their property is, I also suggest a one-sided survey. It's a lot cheaper, but fences do cost quite a bit of money, so if they're spending the money for that, they can spend the money for a survey too, so.
One question, is there an administrative exemption kind of threshold that if you're doing something, if you're putting up a fence that's 4 feet long and 2 feet wide around your flower bed, that you don't have to get drawings and permits and engineering
No,
studies?
none of that, yeah, just a phone call, or somebody sends me an email, not worried about that, not at all,
Right.
In the
no,
ground.
yeah.
And if you have the dead posts, just a decorative garden fence now.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
All right. Anything else from staff?
No,
All
I
right.
don't have anything else.
How about ZBA members? Anybody got anything they want to hear?
Just the one thing that I know that we visited this as a whole body one time. Last year, the council increased the filing fee for ZBA, I want to say to $1,250
For an appeal?
for an appeal. And I made the comment a couple times because I think that the 500 or 750 that was already in the schedule was excessive. And I think what it tends to do is it's going to chase people away from questioning a decision purely based on that cost. And I made the comment once before, and I thought there was kind of sort of agreement up here, but we've had a lot of bodies change since then, that I think I think that fee hike should be revisited. And B, I think that it should be written in there that if somebody appeals a staff decision to the ZBA and the ZBA sides with the property owner, I don't think they should be charged a penny. I think that if we're supposed to be here serving the citizens, I don't see where charging them $1,250 to appeal what could be a wrong decision. I mean, to me, that just crushes any input from the public on good governance.
It's a valid point. Needs to be addressed back to, that was a council decision, correct?
Yes.
So that is something that needs to be probably taken back to city council, because
And I think at one time we didn't formally make a motion to have that done, but I think it was scribbled down, and then, you know, Katie's gone now, and it just, there's been so much.
a lot of change.
I think it just got lost in the shuffle, but I think that would really be a good accountability thing for us to do, to say, hey, you know, if we screwed up, we're not gonna charge you that kind of money to appeal it, without being able to not have to pay it if you're correct.
That's a fair amount of money.
That's a whole lot of money.
It's a whole lot of money, especially if it's, you know, I don't know what that garage on Maple Street costs, for instance, but $1,250 on a $15,000 garage,
It's 5%.
yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good hunk, so.
Well, and what I can do is I will talk to Jerry, the building inspector. All of his fees are starting to change because of what they were before is very different than what they are now because of Safe Build. So I know that he was going to be going to council, or they were going to be bringing it up. So I can see where those fees are at, and then we can talk about for the ZBA what the fee is and
How much is the
that
fee?
process.
Mark, do you know how much your fee is if somebody comes into you before they end up here?
I think it's $750.
I'm thinking so, but I don't really remember.
We did raise ours, it was $250. There's
There is a lot
a
of,
lot of work that goes into
Reviewing.
reviewing, making sure that every T is crossed and I is dotted.
I would argue that
And-
you guys have more time and effort invested than we do at the end of the day. Because there's a lot of work that gets done before
yes,
someone gets to this point on an appeal.
yes.
Would you,
Well, they're two different appeals.
well, that's true, yes. Yeah,
When you've got the newspaper, you've got the mailing, I mean,
correct.
so those are some of the larger fees.
That's a legitimate issue that you bring up, that, you know, that's a pretty high cost for,
I thought it was high already,
right.
and I think it was $750. It might have been $500, but to go to $1,250 with it,
Well, you would know, you've been around the block on it a few times, so. You know, from a personal standpoint, so. Anyway, yeah, I think.
I can look into that.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, if you would,
Yep, send you
I
an
think
email.
that, you know, I think the charge is fine if somebody appeals it and they're clearly wrong, and staff and the ZBA both say, no, you can't do that, then let them pay, you know, if they want to throw that kind of money at it, and everybody thinks they're wrong, but I think where this body might overrule staff on something, or come up with a compromise, I don't know that we should penalize somebody that kind of money if they're in fact right.
for a legitimate,
It's called an appeal for a reason.
correct, yeah.
Either lower the fee or,
I think it should be rebated if they're successful.
I was just gonna say that, a rebate half of it, maybe, yeah,
Yeah, if you check
Yeah.
on that, that would be grand.
yeah,
Okay.
will do.
Anything else? Your wall and parking lot look fantastic, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
As well they should, right?
You don't want to know.
I don't. All right, if there's nothing else, how about a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are.